Front Runner family, how's it going? We're keeping up with the Zoom discussions, kind of reaching out to all our brothers and sisters as far as the soccer fraternity is concerned in South Africa. We've brought you discussions with Neil Tovey. We've spoken to William Shongwe. We've even spoken to Marshall Munetsi, who's sitting in France, and thought we now go to KZN, where I'm sure the weather is much better than what I'm experiencing up here in Joburg. You can see me. I'm in a hoodie. Mr. Mandla Ncikazi, who's joining me live, he's wearing a short pants. He's got a short t-shirt on. Gumnandi. Bye.
Wait, it's hot, like it's summer.
Like it's summer.
If there was no lockdown, I can guarantee you I will be at the beach.
I can imagine. As I try to get a hold of you now, just because I'm guessing you haven't had anywhere to go in the past couple of weeks. How have you been spending your time under this lockdown? Welcome.
It's a very strange world. I'm the only person who's allowed to go shopping. So okay. The whole process when I come back is so stressful, although it's good, where I have to take everything out from the shopping list, sanitize each and every item, and I have to leave the clothes outside, take a shower outside. You know, in our culture, only a person who's coming out of jail, when he comes home for the first time, he goes through that process. Hey, I feel like someone who's coming out of jail, but it's a necessary process, my brother.
No, I can imagine, and you're right. You bring a point there, because obviously in your line of work, you have to. You can't leave details uncovered and not take care of the finer details. In terms of the players, is this something that you've also kind of tried to drum into them to be as careful, to make sure that they are keeping things sanitized and themselves healthy, of course?
We're so fortunate, Kamza, that Steve is a former teacher. He likes to educate. We just completed our Zoom session for the day, where players were physically engaged for the past 4 days. So 4 days in a week we do that. But tomorrow it's just a session that you're talking about, where he's just educating players about what should they do, because with our players, you find a young player at 22 and he's the breadwinner at home. So he must be the one who leads. Some of the players cannot join the Zoom because there's network problems in his area. So we must understand reality now. We are living reality, where these players are coming from. So we must try and assist them. How can they help their families in their areas? And it's very important.
Okay, I mean, you speak about the challenges of staying in communication. So what then happens? Do you then just make sure that at least at the bare minimum, you're giving a call to keep their spirits up, to check on them mentally and physically?
There's a WhatsApp group where we check, everybody must report to it. How are they with their families? Secondly, I personally make video calls, maybe in groups of 4. Of players that I think they are friends. We just chat about anything, general information. And then there is this official one where a Zoom session of the whole team, where the coach will take everybody along. There's technical team meetings that we hold in uniform, like I am right now. I've just finished a meeting. So there's official ones, there's unofficial ones, but we do check on our players, and we want them to give us feedback of how they are living with their families.
Let's talk about the unofficial ones, where you're basically checking in on their well-being. I mean, how are the guys holding up? Have any of them confided with any fears as to how they see this all playing out? Or are they taking it in their stride? Are they getting better? Are they looking at past matches? Are they, analyzing themselves to make sure that coming out of the lockdown, they're a better player than they were going in?
It's exactly what is happening, my brother. Unofficially, we just check. For instance, we just choose any 5. Give us your what do you do? Give us 5 things that you are doing in this lockdown. So we learn from the situation, where how do they distress informally, but at the same time we are reading and learning who is this player in essence. When this boy Makubela, who's from Malamulela, told me that, hey coach, in my area I've got a network problem. If you want me to connect with Zoom, then I must go to town. And there is this challenge that you must have a permit. I started understanding, he was giving it to me informally, but I started understanding him better.
Right.
And this boy in our team is one player that covers more distance than anybody, I think, in the PSL. Right. Then you start understanding that the environmental challenges make him the person that he is in the field of play. So there's a lot to learn, even for us to reflect. I was watching overseas. In Germany, they said Kamza, they're going to start playing soon.
Right.
And the new ways of training players, while you're separating them, it's a team sport, but find a way, new ways. How do you train without players making contact?
Right.
All of us are in a learning curve, but we must adapt and adapt very quickly.
That's very true. Let's focus on the team now in terms of your targets and coming into the season. We've got 7 games left for your schedule. 21 points still on offer. You're sitting in 7th position in the log standings on 32 points. What was the mandate coming into the season? And as far as your targets, how far off or how much have you exceeded them? What is the current state of play for you guys as a technical team and a club with your impressions for the season?
Firstly, Kamza, from the team's perspective, we're very fortunate. Our boss is not very, very demanding in terms of where she wants you to finish. Right. It's always, I will want to see the team doing better than what they were doing last season.
Right.
And secondly, there was also a concern from the support base that the previous arrows was no longer reflecting Abafana Best 10.
Right.
So another mandate was to try and bring back that culture in the team, that while you are winning matches, people want to see the team relating its turn. And then I think we have achieved that to a certain extent. Secondly, we wanted to win, but win in style. I think the current arrows this season, we haven't lost many games at home, but mainly on our side, Kamza, and personally. Steve always says it's visible success and invisible success. We want to win trophies, and trophies is visible success.
Yes.
But there is this invisible success where not a lot of people see it happening. We want to see players growing. Currently in our team, Kamza, there's 16 players that have been promoted from MDC into the senior team.
Right.
And I think we are one of those teams that give young players, unknown players, an opportunity in the highest league. And these players then have an opportunity to feed their families. For me, that's the main part.
Right.
From nowhere to somebody. There's lots of players that are breadwinners. There's lots of players into the national team. There is this boy who's our number 1 goalkeeper, Spiso Mlungwa. He is from Umkhanyabude, the most rural of KZN. Right. This boy now is our number 1 goalkeeper. He's coming from nowhere. And already, although he's a graduate in terms of studying, but football-wise, he was nowhere. He's our number 1. He's into the preliminary squad, into the Olympics. And I'm sure he's going to make the final squad. For me, that is a success that I pride myself with.
Sure.
Of one where not everybody sees that, but I'm getting satisfaction from knowing that I've created an opportunity for somebody that did not have an opportunity.
Where does that success come from in terms of the finding the talent to fit into the team and the philosophy? How do you guys attribute that? Is that the scouting network? Is that personal relationships with coaches that oversee youngsters? How does the network work to feed into the MDC and then obviously reach the first team?
It's a combination of a lot of elements, Kamza. One, the scouting network, but the competition in that department now is too big, because you find that teams that have got better resources are also filtering into the same camp.
Right.
But again, the networks that one creates with the coaches from different areas makes it easier for us to access these players. Also, the brand of football that you play.
Yeah.
People like what Arrows does.
Right.
People like that Arrows give young players an opportunity.
Right.
There's no purpose in a player getting an opportunity in a bigger team, but he's not going to be seen anywhere. His success will only be at MTC, and that's it with him.
Right.
With us, you do well at an MTC level, we give you an opportunity in the top team. So it's nearer. The hierarchy of our team is not as big as it is in other teams where getting into the first team takes you too long.
Right.
With us, it's just nearer. You do well, you get an opportunity. I think that makes us also an attraction.
No, for sure. I mean, that you make a very good point, is that any coach who hands over a youngster to you knows that that youngster is not going to waste away and not get any opportunities. Speaking about that MDC team, you guys were so dominant in the MDC, and it just goes to show that there is a need for a lot of clubs to have development structures. Do you think that there's a lot of talent that we're missing out on because of the lack of, maybe MDC exists? Whether people take it as seriously as you take it is another question, because I believe that if they did, we'd probably see a standard increase in the quality of our football.
Kamza, very good point. I think PSL teams view MDC differently. Others view it as a dumping site for unwanted. I heard in some teams that the head coaches of senior teams have never touched the ground of the MDC team. But the link in our team is different. MDC coaches work hand in hand with senior team coaches.
Okay.
We also go to the MDC matches.
Right.
We also go to their training session and handle sessions. We know who is doing well in the MDC team.
Yeah.
We want also the coaches to play the same way in the MDC as the senior team, so that it's easier for adaptation and integration.
Right. Okay. So in terms of seeing that success almost filter, because is that a reason? Does that show us the gulf in class? Because you're dominant in the MDC and you'll take those players in to your first team against teams who in the league are just worried about winning and getting 3 points. You guys have a different mandate. It's develop players, help them get better, bring in the ones from the MDC. Trying to bridge that gap. I guess it helps when your owner's understanding of the entire vision. But do you think you're a long way off from replicating the success in the MDC at the top level? Or is that something that's not really realistic, considering that, the teams you're up against in the Absa Premiership are throwing millions at their squads?
Kamza, to be honest with you, I think currently the PSL, one thing that is good with them, you cannot predict an outcome against a team that is number 16 and a team that is on top of the league. The gap between big teams and small teams have been narrowed. Secondly, I am sure in the near future, Arrows are going to be counted with the top teams.
Okay.
But we just need a little bit of patience, maybe from management side, where you allow a coach a longer period to infiltrate his philosophy into the club. If we were to do that, Arrows are going to dominate again. I was explaining to someone, how did Arrows win the MTN 8 2010? How long did those players stay at Arrows, and who were the coaches? Same thing with the MTC team that did well, I think 2-3 seasons ago.
Right.
How long those players? I'm the one who went with these players to the US. We went to Czech Republic. We went to Sweden in the Gothia Cup. We went into the Metropolitan Cup in Cape Town.
Right.
And therefore, the exposure took them to MTC. And we need to follow the same process. Now, in South Africa, we've got this belief that there's a shortcut to development, and that is not true. We need to do development the correct way, but resources sometimes are a challenge. I'm hoping that with this introduction of the club licensing system that filters down into development, teams are going to do things the right way.
I mean, we're all hoping that, because club licensing just seems like the most obvious thing to keep everybody honest and working to a high standard. Why do you think it's taken so long? And I dare say there seems to be, in some quarters, opposition to having this, almost like a bar that's set as to how we all should engage and operate.
If this was not going to put me in a problem, Kamza, honestly speaking,
yeah,
I just wish that our SAFA and PSL can find a way to work together for the success of football.
Right.
For me, I think the biggest stumbling block, the way and the direction should be given by those structures. But as things stand, I don't think the current situation is assisting the development of football in our country very much.
Right.
And for me, that's where my answer ends, and I know you hear what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, and that is adequate. Thank you, sir. Let's move on to the life of an assistant coach, because I think a lot of people, it's kind of misunderstood. We've had head coaches, reduce it to putting cones down. And I've seen you work. I've seen your responsibilities. I've seen you be the glue between the players and the people that sit on the bench. How would you best describe the roles and responsibilities of an assistant coach in 2020 in the Abafana Bastende setup?
Kamza, always give this response. There's 3 types of assistant coaches. Maybe firstly, let me point out, I don't know whether Kamza we have picked up that one at Mamelodi Sundowns. It's Pitso Mosimane, the head coach. The assistant is Manqoba Mngqithi, a former head coach.
Sure.
At Pirates, the head coach is JZ. The assistant coach is Fadlu Davids, who is also once a head coach at Maritzburg.
Right.
At Arrows, equally the same. At Highlands Park, it's Owen Dagama and Freeze, former head coach. Right. I think the direction is shifting. People are taking technical teams seriously. The amount of work and the amount of serious technical expertise required in that level has increased. Coming into your question, Kamza, the first assistant coach previously was just a ball boy. He's just there to just do whatever is being said.
Training.
And I think that is diminishing slowly in our country. The second one is just that one that is placed by the club to look after the interest of the club. He's never chased. He's always there.
No matter who the head coach is, that guy is the assistant.
No matter, he is there, and he'll never be fired for whatever reason.
Right.
But the direction at Arrows and most clubs currently is one where it's a coach helping another coach.
Sure.
So you are involved in every decision making, whether it's the recruitment of players, whether it's the tactical changes that must happen in a club, preparation of the club for a match, the selection of the team to play, training session. And I'm in that level. I'm fortunate to work with Steve Komphela. Kamza, people don't know Steve, the person.
Sure.
The best human being, the most hardworking coach that I've ever worked with, and a very good human being.
Right.
As a man, whether he's your friend, whether he's the father of kids, he's just a good human being.
Right.
Behind Kamza, the person, there should be a good human being. So every work that you'll be engaged with, you will do it very well if you are just a good human being. And Steve is that person. And that's why I enjoy working with him at every level.
So are you there? Let's talk about the dynamics of the relationship between you and Steve. Are you like-minded, or is there a strength in not being the same kind of person? Are you there to play devil's advocate? You know what I mean? Are you there to add, flesh out things that he might think of, or are you there to offer the counterpoint to what he may come up with? How does it work?
We complement each other, Kamza. Steve is a diplomat. how he presents his case. If he says you are ugly, Kamza, he will say, you know, God created the world so amazingly that we're not the same.
Yes.
And my brother, you must not take offense that you've got strength. He's just going around to tell you that you are ugly.
He'll tell you ugly, you're ugly in the prettiest way possible. Yes.
Exactly. With me, Kamza, you know what? I'm sorry, my brother, you are ugly.
Yeah.
So we that different. Okay. I come with the straight approach. He comes with his philosophical angle. I also know the province better. The players, the associations with coaches. He just gives his expertise on whoever is there. We started that even in Maritzburg. People don't know that Mandla Ncikazi, the late Mandla Ncikazi, is the same thing. Yolen Makua, Mokate, Fortune Makaringe, who's at Pirates currently.
Sure.
We are the ones who gave them the platform through the very same association and differences between us, but that work harmoniously towards the advancement of the club. And currently we're doing the same at Arrows. It works very well. We're not the same, but we work for the same common cause.
Okay, now that makes sense. It seems like, yes, there's an understanding that there's a long-term project at Arrows. Let's talk about the supporters. Let's talk about the general public. Do you think there's enough of an education and understanding that these things in football take time, that, you know, results aren't going to change overnight, that, you know, players that develop together, it'll be a couple of years before you see them play at the highest level together? How much pressure do the supporters put you under, and how much as a coach would you hope that they knew more about how these things actually work?
Kamza, it's my wish that we can educate our fans, our supporters more in South Africa in terms of how these dynamics work. I was watching one match in Europe where a player scored an own goal, and then at a certain period the coach substituted him. How the supporters stood up and clapped hands for him, and the coach shook his hand. I could imagine the same situation in our country. What would have happened to the same player?
Yeah.
So we're in that level, Kamza. Our as a nation, we're very impatient. We want something instant results, and if it doesn't happen, that is what pushed some coaches away from clubs.
Sure.
Supporters then will start doing things that are not required. And then sadly, Kamza, even the people that we expect them to educate the public.
Sure.
The people that work in the studio in our country,
yes.
The people that analyze matches with due respect are not helping the nation, because they end up being the people that are misguiding the nation.
And fanning the
sometimes they want to see what they want to see. They don't want to read the picture that is in front of them and give that to the public. And for me, that's another area where we need to improve. Whether it's Super Sport, SABC, that's one area that I think we're still lagging behind in our country.
There we go. You make a very good point. I think you're right. The idea of, supporter education is something that needs to be looked at long into the future. And then in terms of young coaches who, are looking at getting into coaching, as an assistant coach, is there a silver lining that you would want to maybe draw their attention to? That obviously I think you probably enjoy a little less pressure. I don't know how much less pressure than the head coach, and that you have the ability to almost float between management and the players. What are the upshots of being an assistant over being a head coach? If you were speaking to a youngster saying, I want to be a coach, why should I be an assistant coach?
If they were to take the same emotions like mine, I'm going to mislead them. But the only advice that, because I'm a bad loser, Kamza, when we have lost, when I arrive at home, already the food has been kept somewhere. I don't see anybody because I'm just a bad loser. But just for the advice to the young coaches, get as much information as you can.
Yeah.
Whether it's from normal people, but just love the game, read. Secondly, get the right qualifications. SAFA does have qualifications. If you can afford, others even go overseas to get their qualifications.
Right.
Thirdly, attach yourself into a club or where you think they are doing things the way you see them.
Right.
Not for you to be paid, but just get somewhere. I remember at one time, Celtics were camping in KZN, and then I will just skip work to go and watch Paul Doleza doing things the way he was doing them, and learn from everybody. I've learned from Middendorf. I might not like him as a person, but there's things that I picked up from him.
Sure.
I learned from Mshine Tukran. I learned from Manoba so much. I'm learning from Steve. And then you create yourself from all the learnings that you received from everybody. For me, just stay in the game, learn and try and improve yourself.
You speak of learnings. What were your learnings from your head coach tenureship at Maritzburg? What do you think you derived from that experience of being a head coach at the team of choice?
Kamza, I always say I've been in the game as a coach for 21 years. But the
you don't make the distinction between assistant and head coach. For you, you see it as coaching.
But there was so much lessons learned in the short period I had in Maritzburg.
Right.
Biggest lesson I learned, Kamza, was that as a head coach, no matter how good you can be within the four lines, tactically, you've got a lot of work managing things outside the football field.
Right.
For you to be successful. I learned that the success of a coach is not only based on him being good inside the field.
Right.
You must also manage environments that are not sometimes related to football. And the harmony created outside has got so much to say in terms of results in the field of play. That was the biggest lesson that I learned in the period that I was in Maritzburg as a head coach.
Okay, and is that something that you would be looking to get back into if the right opportunity came? And what does the right opportunity look like for Mandla Ncikazi to say, okay, assistant coach was great, I'll take this head coaching position?
To be honest, Kamza, I've received a few head coach positions, but obviously I won't be lying. The boss, the environment at Arrows is so conducive for me currently. So you compare the two and then maybe you feel, you know what, I'm better off as an assistant currently. But I am ambitious, Kamza. I would love to one day have an environment where I'll be a head coach, a successful one, and do better than I did in Maritzburg. But I don't want to be over-ambitious, because sometimes when you're over-ambitious, you get an opportunity and it's not the right one.
Right.
And again, where do you go back? So one step by step, while you want to be the head coach, you must wait for the right time.
Makes sense. And then in terms of just, over the years, players, we've already alluded to Abo Makaringe, Dylan Mekwa, players that make your heart smile, having kind of, grown and developed under your watch, and then you're seeing them now flourishing. If you had to pick up some names of players that, you think, I did my job as a coach there, who would that be for you?
I am very proud of Mandla Ncikazi, the right back at national team, the captain of Cape Town City. I wouldn't discuss the length of grooming and the details, because maybe some of them right now you wouldn't be proud of them, but I'm just happy for the position he's in right now. The left back, Sfiso Shanti, I found him in the dusty streets of Stenger, playing for a team, Newcastle ABC Motsepe. I'm proud of him right now. The left back in the national team, Bongi Ntuli, very proud of him. He was part of us when we went into Cape Town to play in the Metropolitan Cup. The fights that we had when he was still in school, looking for a school for him. But for him, the man that I see right now, it gives me joy to see him. Makubane, Siphelele Makubane, the ground that he was playing in Nyoni, where I found him. One is proud to see him growing to what he is now. The list is endless, Kamza, but just to mention a few, there's lots of players where when you look at him, you say, you know what, Mandla, you did your part. You contributed into nation building. And for me, that is what I call myself. That one, I'm just proud to see him feeding his family.
Nah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Mr. Ncikazi, for your time. And lastly, in terms of the Parabes Tende fans, your words to them with the 7 matches still to go. What can they expect? What are you guys, focusing on in terms of getting right in this bit of a brief break that we're experiencing? I'm sure you're going to come back rejuvenated, re-energized, but what is, for the 7-game stretch, what can they expect to see?
Firstly, I would want to thank the supporters. We've got very patient supporters, not many as other teams, but the patience that they have, even if things are not going well. I've not seen a paper thrown in the field by Arrows supporters. And for me, that makes me very proud.
Sure.
The way they communicate with us, if there's something that is not going well, I wish other teams can learn from us, small as we seem to be. But going forward, we're going to try as a club, as the technical team, to play the brand of football that they're proud of while winning matches. I just want them to continue with the patience. I am sure this season, when we come back, we'll finish in a position where they will be proud to stand in front of anybody and say, I'm a supporter of Arrows. And for the KZN and South African fans, we want to be those teams that Kamza, you can't miss an Arrows match even if it's on TV, because the brand of football that they are going to play will make you proud. We want to be those teams where you want to see the match, you want to get the ticket, although we are not the supporter of the team.
There we go. Mandla Ncikazi, the assistant coach for Golden Arrows and a sore loser who still wants his food after he's lost a match. That's a big engine to feed. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best over the, I don't know, however many weeks this lockdown kind of kicks in. But when you get back to playing football, I hope you guys do a great job as you have been doing. And I wish you all the best for the remaining fixtures.
Thank you so much, Kamza. Very proud to see you, my brother, the short man with such long brains. I'm always proud to see you. I miss seeing you in that tunnel, but God does his things his own way. Stay safe. And for the whole South Africans, I wish them to just abide to the rules given by the government, respect the army, respect the health officials. They are assisting us. As soon as this is over, we'll be happy again and everybody to stay safe.
You go well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Kamza. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.